The ideas presented in On the Poverty of Student Life resonate more deeply than ever in the modern American university system. Though written back in 1966, the pamphlet's critique of higher education as a tool for reinforcing societal norms and the capitalist machine, rather than true intellectual freedom, feels more relevant and threatening than ever. Growing up, college to me was presented as a golden ticket, a path to success that would be fundamentally different and better than high school. But in reality, it functions as an obvious representation of economic inequality. The rising cost of tuition, student debt, meager financial aid, loss of student resources, increasing competitiveness, increasing demands for work and education experience makes education less about critical thought and more about financial survival. For me, the time I spent working nights to pay for my school and housing was the time I spent ruining my college career. I resent that the farther I go, the more college has shown me the realities of the competitive, dog-eat-dog financial world I'm stepping into, and the only way to be shielded against it is to already have the system figured out before you enter. My professors and my TAs stretch themselves thin to keep classes running, with less and less resources given to them by their institutions. We activists fight to have our classes, labs, technology, resources, and fair wages for educators, but we become lost voices in the wind when we are too exhausted to spare any time. Our educators may encourage free thought, but so many of us prioritize career training over deep systemic critique. Even in fields like political science, sociology, and the humanities, much of the discourse is limited to theoretical reform and resume-building research rather than revolutionary change.
Cada segundo que soy amada y sé que tengo gente que me recoge cuando me caigo. When I was 7 years old, my mom told me, "Don't tell them where you got this shirt from." Insecure of her chains, her situation was similar to many other women's stories. We couldn't be the only family shopping at the Salvation Army. She wasn't the first woman trapped by a man who made promises he couldn't keep. I wore my new shirt proudly, blissfully ignorant to any reason to feel shame. A girl said it looked familiar. I said cool, and we kept playing. When I told my mom at the end of the day, she reminded me, "You didn't tell people where you got the shirt from, right?" "No." "Why?" "We're not rich. Don't tell people we go to that store." I began to think about what she said and just observed. Should I feel embarrassed of living with so many people? Then I'd remember them saying that I'm gonna get us all a big house. Should I be embarrassed of the food I eat? When you go to school, you're going to travel and try so many foods. Should I be embarrassed of not having traveled farther than Los Angeles? But I remember my mother saying, "Wow, what if you go to school in Europe?" School was my prophesied freedom, a better future for me and for my family, and we just wanted to be free.
Not being asked whether or not I have a dick. Did not think college was in my future. Am I the reproduced replacement of the type of person my mother was? Mother went to college and majored in art, went to college and stayed in line, went to college and didn't party, went to college and didn't protest, went to college and didn't get arrested. College was in my future when I applied after attending community college. They would be a huge asset to your university as they are dedicated, timely, and have the work ethic required. Their choreography in one of our recent dance concerts was that of a grad student, said the letter attached to an application. They are dedicated, timely, and have the work ethic required. It was not very disciplined of me to attend community college. It was not very disciplined of me to obtain functional knowledge along the way. It was not very disciplined of me to not pay 4 years of tuition. It was disciplined of me to work for free and to not be upset at my art being graded lower than my peers. It was disciplined for me to apply to college in the first place. It was disciplined for me to just sit and wonder why, when prompted, my classmates say they're struggling with school. It was disciplined for me to show up to my classes when the world looks like this.
Cuando estaba segura contigo, cuando estaba segura con ustedes. Students equal cogs in the machine. Why can't students just be seen as people, or scholars even? The student is tired of unwarranted labeling from internal and external forces. Everyone hates students, that's true. But you're worse off being a BIPOC, queer, female-presenting, arts or humanities student than a regular cis, white, econ, business, or comp-sci student. The speed run to homelessness. Society complains about the devaluation of art and critical thinking, yet chooses to prioritize whatever is more profitable. Students are caught in the crossfire. To be educated is to be a rare breed these days, whatever educated may mean to you. Capitalism, capitalism, capitalism. Nobody cares for the student's voice unless it can be exploited. Students, like children, women, and the poor, are an oppressed class. The student refuses to be institutionalized. A conundrum of freedom exists in the personhood and concept of student life. Shackled by all the arbitrary, bourgeois bullshit. Structure is not necessarily bad, but willfully bending to a certain dogma without question is. Where are the texts written about students, by students? Intrinsically, these words are just as speculative and presumed as any other outside thought. To talk about students, you must inhabit that identity and feel the struggle. Rebellion, anarchy, dismantling. But nobody does it correctly, do they? Will I ever see or read a viewpoint that is not another sycophantic phrase of Western society, politics, or ethics? How to fight injustice in a justifiable way is subjective. But what does one do when the oppressor will willingly kill you by all means necessary, and our only defense against them is our bodies?
Hablando de mi futuro con mi amor en el nuevo año de 2024. Can you tell the student if the student can speak? If the student may speak? Can the student ask permission? Napkins on the table, thrown across the room. I will speak. I will speak to you. Can the student tell you? The student is going to speak to you. The student is going to speak. The student asks permission. Can the student be understood? With multiple perspectives, with multiple passions, in multiple languages. It has taken years. What is the truth? What is culture? What is a community when there is isolation? What is culture when there is shame? What is religion when practiced through culture? What is empathy if no one uses it? Can you tell me? What is considered right? What is it to know envy? The student sets a boundary. The student reflects on her experience. The student wonders still, what is culture?
The student is tired, too much and so little time. What should the student sacrifice? What will hurt the student's legs in the long run? Pills and pills, for miles and miles. Break? No. She will be thrown off track. No time for leisure, no time to eat, no time to lay down, no time for anything at all.
Water? Oh, she forgot. That explains the headache. This is taking a toll on the student. She has no free time. Does the student remember what she wrote? No. Starting from scratch. She's crying. No. The student still has work to do. She needs to hurry. Her heart's just shattered. She needs to do right this paper. But she cannot focus. The student needs a pill. She needs some sleep. Nothing is curing the student faster than her own brain. As days melt away, she starts creating pieces that won't matter after 10 weeks. Constant thoughts of the next piece she needs to do. The student used to have dreams at night, but now she just has assignments on the back of her mind. She only finds her words in her work. Her job as a student. No, you're crazy, she said. You're so dramatic, she said. You're just a student. What do you know about real life? You're a student. Be happy. It's just that.
Existing right now. In the 80s, I was an angry teen. Angry at the poverty I grew up in and saw no way of escaping. I attempted to go to college, but failed the first time due to the fact that my small rural high school handed me a diploma without a real education. I've had jobs since I was 11, but what I wanted was a job indoors. No more farm work or paper routes. I was starting to understand why youth might become angry and remember listening to angry punk music and loving their dark aesthetic. It became part of my identity, and it served me well as I surrounded myself with like-minded people who had their own brand of anger to express. We were like a chosen family and understood and respected each other more than the rest of the world could understand. One of my favorite bands was the Ramones, early punk trendsetters and clearly rebellious. Years later, I had the chance to know Johnny Ramone. We had mutual friends, and he and his wife, Linda, used to go to dinner on Sundays with us. I got to know him and dig in a bit to his history in our conversations. I saw him and his band as society-hating anarchists with instruments. What I learned from him, surprisingly, was that he was actually a staunch Republican New Yorker who hated liberals and the California West Coast vibe. They created their band as a sort of anti-Beach Boys who were hugely popular when Johnny was young. I must admit to being very disappointed, but it taught me to listen to those I would disagree with.
第一次和家人去海边的时候， When I'm watching a TikTok live stream and the anchor is speaking passionately about women's power and showing off a t-shirt with girls' power printed on it, I feel like I'm not just buying a shirt, but an attitude and support. But the funny thing is that the women who make the shirt may work more than 10 hours a day, in poor conditions, with meager wages, and without even basic necessities of life. They are not the beneficiaries of girls' power, but the victims of this trend. Women are not really respected. Real women's rights can be realized through shopping. I remember one of my favorite fashion bloggers used to be all about the latest trends. But I realized that lately she's all about these videos about worker strikes, environmental protests, and how to get involved in a social movement in a fashionable way. She looks like a hero standing in the street with a sign that says, "Love and peace," in short sleeves and vintage jeans. Her post was full of people asking where she bought the short sleeves, but no one was concerned about the meaning of the protest. If love and peace and no to war can be sold at high price because it's printed on a short sleeve, is that what we want?
第一次拥有狗狗的时候， When the missionary come here, he looked for the spring truth and the true voice. He heard the voice of the nobles, and at the same time, he was attracted to the voice from the slums. He thought that the low, pouting voice were much better than the sharp, high voice. But when he said, no one believed him, and he even began to question that he was not a truly wise scholar, for it is unlikely that the truly wise scholar would say such things. There was no way to avoid the voice whenever someone asked about them. Everyone wants to bring the voice to the nation, especially those at the bottom, who are not so much lacking in the opportunity to speak out, but rather, if they do speak out, so what? The king doesn't care about their word or their dice. Even if those words require them to take their names, but they cannot be slighted. They still speak. They still open their mouths with their own words. They at least touch the scholars, and as for the king, no one cares anymore. Really, no one cares anymore. Even if he refused, they open their mouths and the truth lives on. Even if it's not a favor, but it doesn't matter.
Holding my daughter for the first time. By 2085, universities were no longer places of learning, but training grounds for the market. Neo-Uni became the most popular university, promising future employment through efficient education. Upon admission, students signed a contract agreeing that their tuition fees would be automatically deducted from their wages over the next 40 years. A neon ad flickered all over campus. Choose your future. Neo-Uni guarantees your employment. On the course selection page, each class was labeled with its employment conversion rate. AI engineering, finance, and data analysis boasted over 90% employment. Philosophy, literature, and the arts had less than 5%. Next to these low employment courses, a small note says, courses with insufficient employment rates are subject to cancellation. Some students sensed something was wrong. They posted on forums. Their post disappeared. They put up flyers. By morning, the walls were wiped clean. They submitted petitions, but the system responded. Neo-Uni is committed to optimizing student futures. Many began whispering in hidden corners, exchanging printed books filled with content no longer found in the university database. They didn't know if it meant anything, only that they felt compelled to do it. Later, they gathered at the center of campus, holding handwritten signs. We want the right to think and choose. We are not commodities. No one stopped to look. No professors spoke. Other students passed by quickly, avoiding eye contact, as if afraid to be caught in something invisible.
Definitely not in Orange County. Please do not talk to me. Don't tell me what to do or how to do it. I really wish everyone would take me seriously. Don't sit down across from me while I'm eating and try to strike up a conversation with me. Don't say you saw me from across the room and thought I was cute. Don't ask me about my piercings or why I shaved the sides of my head. Don't ignore my nose. Why should I have to explain myself to a room of people who couldn't give one fuck about any of my ideas? I wish everyone would take me seriously. Don't ask me about my home life, my relationship with my parents, or why I take medication. Don't ask me about my type. Your type? Is it Filipino girls who have dark hair and wear baggy sweaters and fur boots? Get the fuck away from me. Don't ask me if I'm okay or why I don't smile more. Don't say I'm cute and try to make me go home with you. I have a boyfriend. Don't force me to give out my number and proceed to call it right in front of me after I give it to you. And make sure I didn't give you a fake one.
I love it when boys shut up.
Guess that's so we don't have a lot. At least I'm sure of all the things we've got. Babe, I got you, babe. I got you, babe. I got flowers in the spring. I got you to wear my ring. And when I'm sad, you're a clown. And if I get scared, you're always around. Excellent work. Thank you, Simon. Thank you, team. Wow. Amazing. Simon, come on.
Viva! All right.